I was only 12 when the HOA forced my family out. My name's Daniel Carter, and for years, I carried the sound of that vote in my chest. The sound of my neighbors' hands rising, one by one, sealing our fate. It started with my dad's workshop. He was a carpenter, and every evening he'd work in the garage, building furniture. The sound of saws, the smell of wood, the late deliveries, our neighbors complained. At first, it was whispers at block parties, frowns over hedges. Then Richard Hale, the HOA president, decided we were a problem. He said our home was lowering property values, that my father was running a business out of his house. It didn't matter that Dad paid every fee, kept our lawn trimmed, shoveled snow for the elderly on the block. None of that mattered when Richard wanted us gone. The night of the vote, I sat by the window while my parents went to the meeting. I still remember the look on their faces when they came home. My mother's eyes red, my father silent, holding the notice. By a majority, the neighbors had voted to fine us into submission. When the fines became impossible, eviction followed. We left with boxes in the back of an old pickup, while Richard stood on his porch, arms crossed, watching. That day, I promised myself, one day, we'd come back. Years passed. My parents worked hard, rebuilt their lives, but that scar never faded. As for me, I studied business, then law, and when the time came, I took every step toward one goal, control. And when the old HOA management company folded, I made sure my firm was there, ready. The irony was almost poetic. The community needed a new management company. They needed someone to run their HOA, and that someone was me. Walking back through those iron gates after 15 years, I felt the weight of memory pressing down. The streets looked the same. The houses stood in perfect rows, but the people, the ones who had voted against us, they had aged. Some had left, but many remained. Richard Hale was still there too. Older now, slower, but with the same proud posture. When I introduced myself at the first board meeting, his face drained of color. He knew exactly who I was. Daniel Carter, he said, voice tight. Mr. Hale, I answered, calm. It looks like I'll be running things from here. From that moment, the balance shifted. The fines, the inspections, the letters, they came from me now, but I didn't need to twist the knife. I wanted something heavier than revenge. I wanted recognition. I wanted truth. Weeks passed, and slowly the neighbors began to realize who I was. Let them feel what my parents felt when no one stood up for us. But the moment came one summer evening, during a community meeting in the same hall where they had voted us out. I stood at the front, speaking calmly about budgets and repairs, when a voice from the back cut through the silence. It was Mrs. Thompson, once my mother's friend. Her voice trembled as she said, "We were wrong, Daniel, about your family, about everything. We shouldn't have voted the way we did." The room went still. Eyes darted, shifting, as if everyone had been holding their breath for years. One by one, other voices followed. Ethan Miller muttered, "I regret it too." Claire Davis whispered, "We should have spoken up." And then, finally, Richard Hale stood. His hands shook against the table. He looked at me, but his words weren't for me. They were for my parents. "What we did was unforgivable. Your family didn't deserve that. His voice cracked. "I am sorry." For a moment, I saw not the tyrant who had crushed us, but a man weighted by the wreckage of his choices. A man who finally understood that power built on cruelty cannot last. The meeting ended in silence. No one could look me in the eye as they left. That night, I walked past my old house. Another family lived there now, laughter spilling from the windows. And now, every decision, every rule, every letter bore my family's name. This wasn't just revenge. This was justice. And justice, once delivered, doesn't need to shout. It only needs to endure. Like and subscribe for more stories.